Hey, Eero! Hey, good to see you.
Now we're rolling. Now I'm with the
Eero Rantala.
I'm with the real podcast pro, Morten Lund. Welcome to Algorytmi.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. How long have you had your podcast?
I started my podcast during the famous Corona season.
That one. Yes.
I don't know if you remember the Corona season.
I do it very well. Yeah. Yes.
I got very depressed.
Yeah.
Some people got very happy because they did not have to go to work and get up in the morning and do stuff.
And they could have video meetings, half drunk.
Video meetings, and my big brother, is an engineer. He was very happy doing those video meetings and still making money, a lot of money. His salary was coming in, and as everybody knows, the musician's salary did not.
No.
Come.
Yeah.
So and the schedule was, everything was removed, and I got very depressed, and so I started taking. I have a dog living close to a forest, so I spent a lot of time walking the dog in the forest, and started listening to podcasts myself actually, and got very inspired.
Me too. And because during that time, I think I was, maybe you too, we were a little bit disappointed on the regular media, which was just pushing the corona, nothing else in the world.
Nothing else.
Okay, please go on.
Nothing else. Yeah. And then there was actually a podcast by another drummer friend of mine, who is one of Denmark's greatest rock drummers.
Yeah.
So he started a podcast about rock music history in Denmark.
Okay.
And I was so inspired by that, and I was thinking, well, if he can do it, then maybe I can do it.
Yeah.
So it gave me kind of a purpose. And then I just contacted 5 of my closest drummer friends in Denmark.
Yeah.
And started the conversations and interviewed them and recorded it and edited and put 5 episodes out at one time.
Yeah.
And
I'm correcting your camera. Just go on. Yeah.
And lucky for me, it became a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it became a thing. So
and it's in Danish.
It's in Danish. I'm sorry, I did one episode in English just to try it out because there was a great New York drummer, a friend of mine, who was here. So I did that in English to see how it went. But my purpose mainly is to document the Danish music history through the eyes and ears of drummers and percussionists from all genres of music. So it's not only jazz players. I'm interviewing rock and pop players, classical players, Latin percussion players.
And how many episodes you have in the can?
I'm on my 58 episodes
and
now.
Still percussion and drum.
Still,
only.
it's mainly drummers. I'm sorry, and we do not only talk about sticks. Because that's the first question I get all the time. So
sometimes you talk about the snare too.
Sometimes we also talk about the snare drum, and of course we talk a little bit about the gear because it's interesting also. But mainly, I'm more interested in how people are living as professional musicians.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm talking about recordings that people did, and music history and life with an instrument.
That's right.
And the passion behind playing an instrument and doing it
surviving as a musician.
Surviving also. So it becomes much broader than sticks and cymbals.
Okay. And you still do it?
I still do it. Luckily, I'm playing much again. My schedule is pretty filled again with gigs and recordings and tours. So now I do it when I have time.
But how often you put out an episode nowadays?
Nowadays it's almost. I mean, it's one, maybe two a month.
Okay,
depending on schedule.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah,
this comes out every second Saturday, but with my touring dates, it's getting heavy. Yeah. It's getting heavy. Also, we have a Finnish podcast with your friend Jukka Perko, which we're also doing, documenting the Finnish senior musicians. Like,
I know.
Yeah. That's everybody who's over 75.
Which is great.
Yeah. Just to hear those stories.
Those stories are important.
Those stories are very important, and those cats didn't get any formal education for jazz or rock or anything. They just picked it up. Anyway, we go back to your current life after your two selections, and this. I just spoke to Cecilia, and also her picked as the first choice a classical piece. And I've done quite a few episodes now with jazz players, and I asked them to select two tracks, and it seems like almost always the first track is classical, which brings us to a question of growing up in Europe in music.
I guess so.
Classical is always first, but you playing marimba at age of 11, Johann Sebastian Bach Violin Concerto number 1 A minor.
Yeah, exactly.
As a soloist, 11. So you were a prodigy.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I started the classical as a classical percussionist because that was the only teacher in my town where I grew up.
Yeah.
So I had a drum set. My father had a drum set when I was born. So there was a drum set in the house. Yeah. And I started on that drum set. But when I was old enough to start getting some education, my parents told me, maybe you should start on the music school. And this guy, the one teacher there, Frank, was a classical
Greetings
guy.
to Frank.
Greetings to Frank. He was amazing, so much patience. So I just got the Morris Goldenberg classical snare drum book, and we started from there. And then he introduced me after some years, maybe you should try these instruments that were in the room, the timpani, the marimba, the vibraphone, the glockenspiel, everything. So, and in some weird way, he turned my interest into those instruments also. Because at home I was only playing jazz and rock and pop and stealing my older brother's LPs and playing along to those LPs. Yeah. But the mallet instruments always had a special interest of me. So
no marimba at home.
No
probably.
marimba. No, I had no marimba. I was actually we had a piano.
Yeah.
So I was actually playing the violin concerto marimba with 2 fingers on the piano and practicing that way.
Yeah.
And I performed that in concert when I was not 11, 13, I think.
Okay.
And that's the highlight of my classical career.
Was that like a youth talent concert?
No, it was kind of a big concert for music school that was happening a bit. So he convinced me. But it was very clever, very smart. He gave me that. If we practice this piece, you can play it in concert in front of 2,000 people next year. And
that's right.
And that was kind of. That was that was intriguing for me. I wanted to do it, but I also remember that experience of playing that concert. I have never been more nervous in my life, standing there alone with the marimba and playing that. I immediately felt I did it, and it was a success, and I was in the newspaper and everything. But I immediately felt that it's not my thing to be in the front as a soloist. I mean, I've always felt much better in the back behind the drum set. I always felt more secure that way.
Okay, so it was not a close call that you would become the classical percussionists in the orchestra, they are in the back. And to be a professional classical mallet soloist, that's quite rare.
That's rare.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so even before the Bach experience, you had jazz in your life.
I had very much jazz
through the vinyls,
which is it's because of my father, who was a multi-instrumentalist. He had a drum set. He could play the guitar, but his main instrument was trumpet, actually. So, and he had a record collection. He was into Louis Armstrong and jazz records.
Yeah.
So I was listening to his album collection, and also he was when I was growing up, him and his friends started a jazz association, a jazz club, basically, and organizing concerts. Once a month in my local town.
Okay.
And of course, me being a young kid, I was always around. I got to go along, and you can, sell beer. I was selling beers, or collecting bottles, or carrying loudspeakers and instruments. So I was just around that environment very early.
Which is really important.
Which is amazing, because my father, he booked all the legendary Danish jazz musicians like Alex Riel and Niels Henning and Thomas Clausen and Mats Winding and all the legends. They came, and I got to be around them.
And what is the town called?
My hometown is Viborg.
Viborg. Okay.
Viborg.
Yeah. All right.
So I was around that, and I saw how much fun these jazz musicians were having on stage.
And off stage, probably.
Off stage also, I got to sit behind some of the drummers on stage. Actually, I remember. It's no secret that we are in Cecilia Norby's house.
It's no secret.
It's no secret, and. One of the first bands, or one of the most inspirational bands I saw, was actually with her singing when she was only maybe 18 or 19 years old. And this drummer in this band, which was called Frontline, which was a famous fusion band. Nils Ratzer is his name, Nils Ratzer.
Yeah.
He let me sit on a case behind him on stage.
Wow.
When I was 12 or 13 years old. And Cecilia was singing, and he was playing, and I just thought he was so cool. He could play drum solo and smoke a cigarette on the same time.
Which is the ultimate goal, actually.
I just
listen, youngsters.
It was so cool to play drums and with a cigarette and playing hardcore fusion drum solo. It was the coolest thing ever.
Maybe Vinny Colaiuta got it from this guy.
I don't. I don't know, but that's. I remember that night as kind of an epiphany. And are we cool?
Yeah, we're cool. I just. Drop the cord.
The cord,
my phones.
No, I remember it as an epiphany. Sitting behind him and watching him play, I knew pretty much, despite the Bach and marimba and timpani and classical snare drum, this is what I want to do in life.
That's right. And that makes things easier when you know. Earlier, I think that's almost the perfect age to know. Because I mean, if you know when you're 3 or 6, that's too early because you're not the same person.
Early early teenage.
That's right. You're like a sponge in those years. Wow.
And to see it up close and feel the energy on stage.
That's right.
Like that behind one of the best drummers in Denmark was just mind blowing. And
wow,
I have a picture.
Yeah. And how old were you when you got your first chance to play maybe in that same club? Was there like somebody got sick and you had to sit in?
We got to play. One of the other songs I gave you, you asked me about important songs, is the Dave Brubeck.
I have it here. Blue Rondo à la Turk.
Blue Rondo à la Turk.
Yeah.
That's the first jazz tune I ever played. Which is a weird.
It's weird. One of the most complicated.
One of the most
standards.
complicated standard or songs ever.
Yeah.
But again, this is my teacher who eventually heard that I was more interested in drum set playing. So he came one day and told me, well, we have this piano player at the music school. He's playing this fantastic tune. I think you should make a band with him. And so he came, this piano player, and played the song for me.
Yeah.
And said, this is the song you want to... And I had no idea. I mean, it's a complicated song. It's in 9/8. It's really complicated, and I had no idea what was going on. I was trying to count the time signature.
But did you have the sheet music?
I had no sheet music. He just played it and said, it's easy. It goes like this.
Yeah.
And I was like...
And then there's triplets.
It's a great song. I love it.
It's
a great song.
Yeah.
But eventually, I said to myself, okay, I got to learn this. So I found the record in the library and took it home and just learned it by ear.
Wow.
And so we started a quartet. The piano player, me, an electric bass player, and a saxophone player from the music school, and we got to play a concert. In that same in that same club where my dad was organizing those. So again, there was what you call it, like when you have a carrot in front of you and you want to
encouragement.
There was an encouragement. So if you get this band together and and you get a repertoire together, we'll give you a gig.
It's so funny that this pianist picked Blue Rondo à la Turk as the first two. That this is how we start. It's not like Blue Monk or
CJ Blues. I mean, he could play other songs, but I think the idea was. We have to give the drummer some complicated shit because I liked complicated shit. I liked it to be complicated at that point. When you're young, I think you like you like to figure out complicated stuff.
That's right. Yeah, and it's somehow easier when you're young.
That was intriguing to me to figure out these mathematics of rhythms and.
Where is that pianist now?
He is somewhere. We lost contact, but I don't think he's a professional piano player to this day. But he meant a lot to me. He showed me. He when we formed this band, we did a demo tape and we got gigs, and it was just like the first real live experience as a jazz musician I had. And he invited me home one evening also, said, Morten, come to my house, let's have some food. I want to show you a video of this great piano trio. Okay, so I was heavily into fusion at that. We are talking 80s,
Steps Ahead.
Steps Ahead and Chick Corea and Return to Forever and
same
Spiral
stuff.
Gyra and all the great fusion stuff because we are 80s people. So, but he invited me home one night and put on this VHS video of the Keith Jarrett Trio.
Wow,
the Standards Live.
That was unusual tape that time.
Exactly. Yeah. He had that video, and I just remember him putting it on the television and watching this piano player screaming like crazy and freaking out. And,
that's right. Yeah.
And that trio, and at first I absolutely didn't like it. Because I was into steps ahead and all this, kind of more square.
You thought that the piano is a Beethoven era instrument.
I didn't like it, and he's screaming and turning and twisting like that, and was it Jack DeShonette drumming was kind of all over the place, and sounding like a washing machine gone wrong.
So what was that? I mean, I remember the third album is called Standards Live, and there's Stella on that.
Exactly.
Is that the same concert?
It's the concert where he's wearing the gray shirt. Do you remember?
Okay. Yeah, indoors. Okay, yeah. Then I've seen it. Yeah.
I think it's just Standards Live. It's not Still Live. It's Standards Live.
Standards Live. Yeah.
But I clearly remember that, and not liking it. Also, another funny story. My father, he came home one day and said, "Morten, do you know a guy called John Scofield?" Yeah, are you kidding me? Yes. Well, we just booked John Scofield to come to Viborg.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And at that time, he had just come out with the loud jazz.
That's right.
And the Dennis Chambers and Gary Granger.
Yeah, and he played with Miles through 80s. Yeah.
But those albums with Dennis Chambers, I already knew them.
Yeah.
Because of my fusion.
Yeah.
I was crazy about that.
Yeah.
So I thought that it was that band coming to Viborg.
Okay.
And I called my friend, my drummer friend.
Yeah.
Said, we have to go. I mean, Scofield is coming.
Yeah.
And it has to be Dennis Chambers. It's going to be crazy. We have to go.
Yeah.
So we go to the concert. And it's not Dennis Chambers.
It's more traditional.
Joe Lovano and Dennis Irving and Bill Stewart.
Okay.
He had just switched into the acoustic thing.
Yeah.
So we are sitting in the theater, and in walks this young redhead drummer and plays a small bebop drum kit. But I have to say, we were pleasantly surprised, actually.
Okay. Maybe that was your kind of your first love, the beginning of your love for the more traditional
thing. For the acoustic thing, absolutely. Hearing the Key Stereo Trio, and also the early Scofield with Bill Stewart, as well as I have to mention Alex Riel, who is the godfather of Danish and maybe Scandinavian acoustic jazz drumming. These were the guys. When I heard the way the creativity and the way they played as drummers, I kind of left the fusion thing and got more heavily into the acoustic thing.
And then a few years after, you entered Royal Academy of Music in Aarhus.
Yes.
Was that like all the styles, or more emphasis on the what we called mainstream jazz?
I was.
Who was your teacher?
Ira. When I auditioned for the Royal Conservatory, I was playing in a 12-piece funk band.
Of course.
And that was my audition.
You got to choose your own band.
You had to play with your own band.
Okay.
So I invited the whole funk band, 12-piece funk band, and played. And then I also played one standard, because I thought, I think it's a jazz school. Maybe I have to play some kind of jazz to get in here.
And you probably left out a few of the 12 pieces.
Exactly. I was I found a guitar player and a bass player friend and played one standard. I don't remember, but I was not yet convinced that I was going to be a jazz player. That came when I started my education. Because I got in an environment and had friends who were much deeper into the acoustic jazz than I was. And I wanted to be like them. Basically,
it's funny how similar our paths have been, because I was 18 years old when I entered the Sibelius Academy Jazz Department, and there I find Severi and Perko. These guys. Perko had just been touring with Dizzy Gillespie, and Severi had been on stage with Sarah Vaughan when he was 14 or 15.
Exactly.
And there was so much ahead in the traditional jazz, which made me feel kind of awkward, but it made me work more.
Exactly.
It's really good thing to find yourself in a school where you are not the star of the school.
I think so. And my closest bass player friend, Jesper Bodilsen, who I played with for 13 years now, he was much more into he was leading the jam sessions 2 nights a week in Aarhus. And of course he invited me to come, but I immediately felt that he actually preferred to play it with other drummers who were more, well-rounded in the jazz language. And that pissed me off, because I wanted to be that guy who was the first choice. So it's exactly like you. It made me go home and work and figure out how is this language.
And since those days you have played hundreds, maybe thousands of concerts with Bodilsen. So it really paid off. What about nowadays? If there's a fusion gig somewhere, does your phone ring? Or,
no.
No.
So please, if there's a fusion gig, I'm available.
Are you available? Okay. So you have a different.
I have a strong love. Like you, my friend, we have talked a lot about legendary classical fusion things. I mean, it's deep in my in my heart. But somehow, there was a period when that was more popular, even in Scandinavia. Now, at least in Copenhagen, it's there's no places really to play music like that. I mean, and
that's right.
And it goes in waves. But Copenhagen has always been a strong city for the more straight ahead acoustics.
You can read my mind, because that was exactly my coming. I was just coming to that. The Copenhagen jazz tradition, the American tradition here. How would you explain it to someone who has no idea? I mean, how did it start? Who are the key players in that tradition?
It's a long story. I mean,
go ahead.
It started already in the 40s, 50s, and with the Americans coming here, basically there was. I think it was like here, maybe Paris, France, but definitely Copenhagen was a very important place, and people came and stayed for long periods of time here. I mean, Dexter Gordon, Ben Webster, Kenny Drew, the piano player. He settled here. The amazing drummer Ed Thigpen from the Oscar Peterson trio came here in the early 70s and settled here and stayed here. And I mean, bass player like Oscar Pettiford came here. I mean, just a bunch of very important players made Copenhagen kind of their base in Europe. And
there must have been reason for that. Was it like very easy for them to find a apartment?
So. I was not around. But what I hear from the older generation, it seems like they felt they were treated very well here. They were treated with respect as people. They were treated. Their music was treated with respect. I mean,
and they had jobs. They had gigs.
Exactly. They had paying gigs. And people came, and they were able to make a living and a comfortable living here. And could play in clubs for weeks and months. And of course, that affected the older generation than me. You know, the Niels Henning, the Alex Riel, the Thomas Claus and Jesper Lundgaard, all of who, when I came to Copenhagen, were the masters. So that tradition it's spilled down through generations. I think.
So Alex Riel probably took lessons from Ed Thigpen.
I think they are kind of the same generation, but they were inspired by each other.
Okay.
I don't think Alex really took direct lessons with the Americans. He just got to play. He got to play with Ben Webster for 1 month at the Montmartre Club. I mean, so these guys were teaching him. You know.
And Niels Henning, Oscar Pettiford.
Of course. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but it just became such a strong thing in the city.
And what did these guys...
In a good and a bad way, I have to say. It was in a good way because it spilled down, at least onto my generation. Now there's not so many people left, and the scene has changed a lot in Copenhagen. It's still here. We still have the famous Montmartre Club. But it's a different situation now.
Okay.
But for my generation, it meant a lot. It meant a lot, and we got to be heavily, influenced by those guys also. So But comparing to the other Scandinavian countries, I think something got a little lost in there also, because it was so much about the American thing, so much about playing the standards and swinging and knowing the American way. That so when I compare Denmark to Sweden and Norway and maybe Finland, it seems like we at some point lost a little of our own
identity
sound in there. I always envied Sweden. And Norway for that sense also, because their own heritage and traditions, to my ears, are stronger in the jazz players.
That's right. Well, when you arrived to Copenhagen as a young Morten Lund, and you got to play with these legends, then Alex Riel, maybe Niels Henning,
I got to play one song with this.
One song.
I only got to play one song with Niels Henning Ørsted.
Okay.
Which is it's a tragedy.
In a jam session.
In a jam session, exactly. I so much would have loved to have just played one entire concert with him, but he played mostly with, of course, Alex and mostly with American drummers also.
That's right. Yeah.
But I was lucky enough to be around a jam session, and he came in the room and looked at me and said, "Oh, you are that guy from Jylland." Jylland is the main part of Denmark.
Yeah.
You're that guy from Jylland. They are all talking about you. He told me. And he picked up the bass, and we played Night and Day, the standard Night and Day. And
with the piano or guitar?
With Carsten Dahl on
Carsten Dahl
on piano, Niels Henning and me. And we played that one song, and I was in heaven. I mean, I'm sitting there like in my 20s and finally playing with Niels Henning. And I have to tell you, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life, just playing and hearing that sound and feeling the energy of his groove. I mean, it was really, really special.
And that was before the smartphones, so nobody recorded it.
Nobody recorded it. It was before everything. But we did that one song, and he put the bass down and was like, and then.
Was that all?
And and then him and Carsten started talking about stuff, and it's like, okay, but well, so that's it. But secretly, I was, screaming happiness. So I think I got the acceptance.
Yeah, acceptance. Yeah, I think is enough. You know.
Yeah. If it.
Was that close to his death?
It was he died in 2005. This was maybe 2002 or something like that.
Quite close. Yeah.
So quite close.
Yeah.
So one song.
One song. Okay, that's a good story.
But a very good one.
Yeah, a good one. Night and Day, fantastic. Yeah, I wonder if was it in C or E flat. Those are the two keys.
You can't ask a drummer.
You can't ask a drummer that. Yeah, I think in E flat because it's easy. It's kind of more opportunities for pianist in E flat in that song.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
He was.
Well, let me ask you this about the jazz education.
Mm-hmm.
We have lots of jazz schools around the world. We have one in this town, Rytmiska Konservatorium, and probably the Aarhus Jazz School is still there. We have one in Helsinki, all around the world. What would Morten Lund Jazz Academy be like? How would it be different from the current ones?
I think. From experiencing being on the road now for 30 years, I think in my school, I think classes should start around 5:30 in the morning. With the subject of just to practice early lobby calls.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's the reality.
That is the reality.
That is the reality when.
Are you always on time?
I'm pretty much always on time. Yeah,
that is my experience.
I'm a drummer.
Yeah. That's right.
I'm a drummer.
Yeah.
So I'm always.
And you are not a big fan of those who are always like 5 minutes, 10 minutes late with the weird explanation of the elevator didn't work or
exactly. But early lobby call practice.
Yeah.
I think should be a subject.
Yeah.
How to pack your cymbals, should be a subject. How to stand in line for the security check, maybe. How to calm down a stressed singer.
Yeah. That's a big problem.
Psychology.
Yeah.
There should be much more psychology lessons.
That's right.
No, jokes aside, jazz education. I mean, I think it's great as it is.
Okay.
I mean, there's especially in our part of the world in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
We are so fortunate to have these schools with amazing instruments and amazing teachers.
Yeah.
But of course you can say, can you learn jazz in school? Yeah, you can learn the kind of the language of jazz and the theory and the mathematics, but to really experience jazz, you have to get out there on a stage and play it live and connect with people.
That's right.
But it's about communication for my part. It is about communication, and it's about people skills, about knowing
psychology,
how to behave on and more importantly off stage.
That's right.
So that's where you learn.
Yeah, but I would actually bring some of that to the school, because that is the profession everybody is aiming to. To be a professional musician who has to know all this, and I just feel that it's two different worlds. I would make the band leader types to really lead a band and make like an album, just to put the band together and call up to the rehearsals and to make one thing from A to Z, you know, Z, and get gigs, you know. But every time I talk about this with somebody who is actually heading a jazz school, they said that no, we are academic institutions. We can't teach that.
So more real world skills.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think it should be included.
The whole question now here is really, does art, the artistic side, suffer too much if you practice, you know, skills?
Yeah.
That's really a thing here. I mean, which should you focus on, skills, or should you focus on the artistic thing?
Yeah. But you are teaching here.
I'm not teaching in the rytmisk. No. Actually, no. No, I'm only teaching private at the moment. Actually, so. But that's the thing, and the schools here, we have at least 5 conservatories here in Denmark now, and previously they were much more the same. Now they are really different. I mean, so the artistic side is really important here in the Copenhagen one. Yeah, and if you go to Odense, it's more about the Berkeley tradition and more about skills and learning. And in Aarhus, the main focus is maybe songwriting and production, and so the schools are much more different now, which I think is actually okay. That not all schools
are the same.
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, but I have always been about the skills. I mean, that's very close to my thing. I mean, first thing you in my opinion is you have to know your instrument. I mean, and focus on that. Focus really on that. Yeah. But I would have loved to have more. I would have loved to have been kicked more in the ass about the artistic thing when I was younger. And you know, being forced to write more music or arrange more music.
It's not too late.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. Yeah.
And and you are going to be the first one I played for.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Morten Jazz Symphony. The Jazz Symphony in 9/8. Yeah, the whole thing in 9/8. Yeah, no rests whatsoever. Okay, then the years are rolling, and Italy becomes quite important country for your well-being. You know, I mean, you play a lot in it. Tell the story how you got to know Stefano. It happened here, and you had no idea who he is.
No, absolutely not. No, you are talking about Stefano Bollani.
Stefano Bollani, of course,
who is one of the greatest piano players, like yourself, in Europe. Yeah, I've been playing with him for more than 20 years now.
Yes,
in a trio situation with my friend Jesper.
Yeah,
and yes, we met here. In early 2000, there was a big prize being given every year, a big jazz prize, which I think was the biggest jazz prize in Europe at the time. I mean, people like Roy Haynes got it, and you know, big names got this prize. So in 2002, the prize was being awarded to Enrico Rava, who is the Grand Meister, the grand old, not old, but the grand, the big trumpet player in Italy.
Yeah,
and and of course there was going to be a prize winner concert in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
And legend has it that the organizers asked Alex Riel and Bo Steve, the bass player Bo Steve, they asked them to be the rhythm section for the prize concert.
Yeah.
And they turned it down. I don't know why, if it was money or a schedule or whatever, but they turned it down.
Yeah.
And Jesper and me, we were kind of becoming, more known as the young upcoming rhythm section,
the new cats
in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
So we got the offer to play this prize-winning concert with, and they thought it was nice, to have a meeting of generations.
Yeah.
So we said yes, of course.
Yeah.
So we meet in the rehearsal studio at the Danish radio for this concert, and Enrico is greeting us, and he's bringing a piano player and a trombone player from Italy.
Okay.
So and we had John Abercrombie on guitar.
Wow.
Actually.
Wow.
So it was an amazing band.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the young piano player from Italy was called Stefano Bollani.
Yeah.
And I just remember we played the first song in rehearsal, and everybody just had big smiles on their faces, and it was just amazing.
Yeah,
it was really amazing to meet these guys. And Stefano was the same age as me and Jesper. We were kind of the same generation. And we had just had a thing immediately as a rhythm section.
Yeah.
So we do this prize-winning thing. We even recorded a live album, and we just knew immediately we have to do something again.
Yeah.
So Jesper, my friend, being the entrepreneur that he is, he quickly organized a trio thing 6 months later or something. So we did a couple of club gigs in here in Denmark.
Okay. Yeah.
And he booked the studio, and we went in and we did our first album in like 3 or 4 hours or something like that, which came out on the Stunt Records label. And immediately it was kind of a hit. We became, a thing. It was easy to get gigs. People loved what we were doing, and it was just a lot of fun. Little did we know that he was already becoming a very big star in Italy. So we played the first tours we did in Scandinavia. We played the usual clubs for 50, 100 people, something
Dexter's
like that.
in Odense.
Dexter. We did Jazz House here, and we did, the usual clubs. And we thought this is the level, and we were happy, and it was like, wow. And then we get a call from Stefano. Maybe you should come down here to Rome and play a gig with me in my town. Yeah. Sure, why not? And so we fly down to Rome, and it turns out that we are playing the first concert in Italy in Auditorium Parco della Musica, which is a grand hall with like 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And it's sold out.
Yeah.
And we were like losing our minds. And it's like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So we go there and we play a trio concert in front of 3,000 people.
And the answer is television.
And the answer is, of course, media and television. He did a lot of radio and television. But he is. I mean, it's not only about being famous.
Of course.
He has the ability on the instrument. I mean, he can back it up with the. He's on that level as a musician, and still, I mean, when you go to Italy, I don't know. It feels like musicians, they have more respect for musicians in
Complimenti.
You're being called. Even me, I'm just a fucking drummer. I mean, they call me maestro when I enter the building or the restaurant. I mean, I'm not used to that kind of respect for what I do. I don't know how it is in Finland, but
well, I think I have the similar feeling. I get more respect when I go to Italy. I was just there a week ago, And I can remember from the early, we were there a lot in the 90s, and actually I know from Stefano that he used to listen my Finnish trio, Trio Turk, but he didn't know that. He never checked the names. No. And now last year we did a duo album together, and then he found out that he'd been listening me in the 90s already. Yeah, without knowing it's me. Wow. But there's something almost addicting about the way how they talk to you.
I remember. I mean, then we experienced this concert with 3,000 people. Then he shows us a magazine, like it's a magazine, like a home magazine, home interior decoration.
Yeah,
and they have like a special edition, which is called At Home with the 5 most famous jazz musicians in Italy.
Yeah.
At home with Stefano, at home with Enrico, at home with Paolo Freso, at home with... I mean, just imagine, have a magazine, interior magazine in Scandinavia doing a feature like that. It would never happen.
No, that's right, yeah.
And that's, I mean, that shows that even... a jazz thing, which is a niche. I don't know if you use that word. But in Italy, it still has some. There's some respect about if you are a musician.
I think it's overall respect for our artists and musicians. Yeah. Wow.
And then that's been going on, and blah blah blah. We have made a lot of records, and that has turned into us going there and playing a lot around Italy.
And there was a break for a few years, but now you're back.
We are back. We just came. I just came home from 2.5 week tour of North Italy now.
And more tours coming up.
More tours is scheduled for next year. Stefano is writing music for 2 movies. A French movie and an Italian movie. But we had so much fun on this tour, and everything was. We had 10 nights. It's all recorded live, so we have a live album coming out at some point, and. It seems like that we are going to continue as a trio. We have to. I mean, it's a strong thing.
What other projects you have coming up?
I'm the sideman kind of guy, so I'm getting called to do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate, and I do big band stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to Hamburg to play with the NDR big band.
Yeah.
I'm working with a few different singers here. I have a piano trio in Copenhagen with a piano player called Henrik Gunde from the Danish Radio Big Band.
Okay.
Which I'm releasing also. So all kinds of different stuff.
Is that trio under your name?
That's a shared thing.
A shared thing. Okay.
Because it's Jesper is also the bass player there, so that's kind of our domestic trio thing, you know.
Yeah.
And then I get to play with you again.
That's right. Breaking news we have 2 gigs.
Exactly.
We have 2 gigs.
That's
Belgium and Switzerland.
Yes.
Will concord those 2 countries. Yeah.
And we played a lot before.
That's right.
Yeah.
We did.
I'm even
through
on
the
one
years.
of your albums, which I'm very grateful for.
Yes.
Yeah.
My History of Jazz.
My History of Jazz.
There will be more.
Yeah.
There will be more.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. It's in actually when this episode comes out, we will be playing live around that time. Yes. Perfect. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I want to do this. The differences in characteristic, the Danish people and Finnish people.
Okay.
I start. I tell what I think the Danish people are, and then you think you say what you think the Finnish people are. Okay. Okay. This will be very educative. I think Danish people are a little bit different than other Scandinavians I know. You are more loud, you are more outspoken. It seems that everybody has very good self-esteem here somehow. Small country, but you're more people than we. You're 5.9 million. We're 5.5 million. But of course, as a size of the land, you're much smaller. But it seems that you're very successful, good in presenting yourself, good in the trade, and you're fun-loving. You're funny people, and you like your beer.
We like
you like your beer, and then very cool, cool city, and Copenhagen it is, and I think you're closely following your time. I think you're quite modern.
Explain that.
I think I come here maybe twice a year, so I see. Well, now the past years it's been more vegan and environmental eating, and I think you are ahead in that. So that's one example. That you can find the new restaurants and new ideas in food in here. That sort of thing. Plus, you have the great airport of Scandinavia. So I mean, very very positive things.
No annoying things. We are too loud.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes too loud, and which is weird comparing the size of the country and the nation and people. But somehow you get, maybe it's because the closeness to Germany that you have always been kind of outgoing and international, unlike the Finnish people. Well, now go ahead. The Finnish people in the eyes of a Great Dane.
Well, I remember a comedian. He did a parody on Finnish people. Famous Danish comedian,
not Borge,
not Victor Borge.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he ever talked about the Finnish people.
No.
There was another guy who did a comedy thing, and he had a joke about Finnish people were always throwing knives.
Yeah, why
not? Is that true?
No, it's not true. But this is one of the funniest things I've heard. Yeah.
Always drinking vodka and throwing knives.
Yeah. Actually, as a fun activity, well, the vodka drinking is, of course, that's a hard fact. But then after some vodka, maybe some.
And I remember the game was called Jokkar. You have to play Jokkar, and and you get drunk and you throw knives.
Yeah.
And if you get hit by the knife, you throw knife at each. And if you get hit by the knife, you become the Joker.
Yeah. Joker.
That's the joke. That's the joke. This comedian he don't. I love Finnish. It's not because I'm on your podcast. I say I love Finnish people, but I love the humor you guys have. I mean. And I've experienced it from you, from Severi, from Jukka, from Niklas Winter, from all my Finnish friends. It's understated.
Yeah.
The understated Finnish humor is amazing. I mean, you are the masters of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you say Danish aloud, I would say Finnish are very quiet people.
It's true.
It's not.
It's true. It's true.
Much more quiet people.
Yeah, but not too much noise about ourselves.
No,
I think the best time was when we had the Nokia phone, which was the best phone at that time. It was the most. We didn't have to market it.
No.
Everybody wanted the Nokia phone.
Yeah.
But then after there was some competition, then we just lost it.
Yeah.
In a few years. Yeah.
Absolutely, you're more quiet. I mean, you're much cooler than we are.
Yeah.
I mean, we get loud, but we we drink too many beers and fall asleep. Maybe you are good at the beer thing also, but you can go on for much longer.
For much longer for no purpose. Except passing out. Yes.
But I've been in love with Finland, and I've been coming to Finland since the early 90s also. One of our friends from that period, Niklas Winter from Turk. Jesper and me, we used to go we used to drive all the way 6 hours to Stockholm and take the Viking line during the night to go to Turku to play
and arrive fresh.
Exactly. And we did tours with Niklas around Finland, and I remember this club I'll never forget in Vasa called Papankapakka.
Yes, I think it's still there.
It's still there.
Vasa.
Please take me there.
Vasa is a real jazz city.
It is.
Yeah.
I just remember playing on Papankapakka. And we were trying to play really serious ECM style, Nordic, Jon Christensen, atmospheric, lyrical jazz in Papankapakka on Friday night. When people were throwing knives and drinking.
Did you switch to something more? Oh, you kept your style.
We kept our style. I think we ended up playing some blues also, just to
Good memories. And and Finland is a little bit like a mystery wrapped in enigma, for many people, and that's the way we like it to be. Has the world become a better or worse place during your lifetime?
In terms of
for you, what do you think? Yeah, is the glass half empty or half full? Are you pessimistic?
Personally, I think it's become better. I still do what I love to do for a living. I have never thought of anything else but to become a musician since I was 4 years old. Since I played my father's drum set for the first time, and I never thought I should do anything else. I mean, it was not on my agenda to try or have a backup plan of something.
Not even when you turned 50, where some men kind of become, they have some.
No.
Yeah, okay.
It's just a number for me. It's just a no. It's still. I still love to sit down at my instrument and play it every time, despite the shoulders are maybe hurting a little now, and the long travelings, and so in terms of that, just being able to play and express and play music with you and all my friends, it's in that sense, I think the world is a great place. Everything else, especially now in this world we are in, I mean, it's hard not to get a little nervous about how the coming years
and sad.
It's sad, and it's just a fact. But I cannot spend energy on that. If I start spending too much energy on that, I become depressed, and so I put on some music and I focus on the music. I focus on on creating and what makes you happy. I mean, that's I think extremely important. I think
that's keep that. What really pisses you off?
Loud vocals in the monitor.
Oh, really?
I played too much with singers.
Okay, but you asked the vocal to be loud in the sound check. No. It gets loud during the gig.
No, but
you're gonna get hate mail from the singer.
Hate mail.
No.
I'm joking, but but what pisses me off? I mean, catering. You talked about food. I mean, that's a really big hobby of mine. I mean, being making food in the kitchen, but also going out and eating and reading about food and food culture and food history is something that I spend a lot of time.
Not only Italian food, but it's food. But it's a big part of it. I'm sure.
It's just and it comes. It came with the gig. I mean, with my profession, I travel a lot, so you try a lot of different foods and different food cultures from around the world, and I'm so fascinated by. So what pisses me off is really when a club or a festival or they don't put an effort in providing a good meal for the musicians. I mean, that's the one thing. I mean, we don't. It's almost more important than the money you get, the fee.
Yeah.
I mean, really, what makes the day or makes a good concert? Is a good meal. I mean, good catering, a good meal before the concert. I cannot say how many times you've been disappointed in that area.
I know,
and it just affects the music. And it's so simple. Just to provide a nice.
If we are taken to a restaurant to eat, there is hope, but sometimes if the catering is in backstage, which is kind of easy for us, it can be all sorts of things.
We all know. I mean, we tried it so much. I mean, sitting in the car for 8 hours and you arrive and it's 2 pieces of white bread and some ham and cheese and a cup of coffee. And it's obvious that the concert is going to get much better if
it's a good meal.
It's a good meal. So actually,
listen, promoters.
And I have to say, I think it's actually become it was kind of getting better after the Corona thing. Now it's become a little worse again. Now. But of course, in Italy, I mean, 2.5 weeks in Italy. What can you say?
What can you say? I mean, with Stefano.
I mean, but there you have to be careful. I mean, it's too good. It's too much cheese and too much pasta, and it's
tiramisu. One more tiramisu.
It's too good. I'm glad I'm home now because it was too much.
Okay, I understand.
But really, that's. That can get me in a bad mood for a show.
I understand. What happens after you die? To you, I mean.
Well, unfortunately for someone else is going to have to carry my drum set.
So you are mainly worried about that? Yeah. To your funeral
Someone
first.
else is going to have to carry my drum set and my cymbals. Now I've been carrying my own drums for 40 some years. So when I'm not there, I feel sorry for my kids and my wife who else is there after me that they have to carry those shitty drums around.
So you're actually looking forward to the time you don't have to carry them anymore.
That could be a thing.
Somebody will take the drums to your funeral. Maybe there's some jam session, but they have to carry them first.
They have to carry them.
And you are not around.
All of them. I have a lot of drums.
Do you have a big bass drum, heavy bass drum?
Maybe I should be buried in a bass drum. I don't know. That's a thing?
That's a thing.
Yeah?
And now this is a real drummer talk. Well, to be with your closest companion. No, it's your family, of course.
I don't know, but
I'm sure there is a drummer who has been buried with the bass drum, or in the bass drum.
Maybe in the bass drum. In the simple case.
It takes less space. Well, thank you so much.
What's happened with you when you go away, Eero?
Well, the Finland will shut down for months. Because people are mourning. Children don't have to go to school. Everybody are crying.
It's an official holiday.
It's official holiday. I mean, people just can't. They can't continue living after I'm done.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Because I'm such a big part of their. And in few years they will get over it. But it's one of those. It's similar in North Korea, and when the leader dies, and me. So
and if we go on the same time, I'll meet you at the jam session.
That's right. Yeah. And it's gonna be medium up Billy's bounce. That's it. Thanks, Morten.
Thank you, Ido.